In secret, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has shown his tremendous support in rebuilding the Third Temple.
You have the stone vessels, which are so typical to Second Temple period.
Ground-penetrating radar just scanned beneath the Temple Mount. And what showed up on those screens is making archaeologists question everything they thought they knew about this site. The radar found sealed chambers carved into solid bedrock, staircases deliberately blocked with heavy stones and ancient mortar. And here's the horrible part. When researchers scanned the walls behind one of those blockages, the readings came back wrong. Copper sheeting, traces of lead. Those aren't construction materials, those are containment materials. The kind you use when you need to isolate something dangerous. Whatever is sealed behind that door, our ancestors didn't just want it hidden, they wanted it trapped. And for 3,000 years, that seal has held. Now scientists are preparing to look inside. The question is whether we're ready for what they'll find. The ancient foundations. Jerusalem rises from the hills like a crown of stone, but one part of it stands out more than any other. The Temple Mount is a 35-acre platform made of limestone and legend. It is one of the most sacred and contested pieces of land on the entire planet. For some, this is where Solomon's temple stood 3,000 years ago. Ancient texts say that temple held the Ark of the Covenant and was filled with a divine presence so powerful that entering the inner chamber meant certain death. Only the high priest could enter, and only once a year.
For 40 years, wandering through the desert. Along the way, it displays great power. Eventually, the Ark is brought to Jerusalem.
A second temple rose centuries later, but the Romans burned it to ashes in the year 70. For others, this is where a great prophet ascended to heaven. The golden dome that sits there today has been a landmark for over 1,000 years. But here's the deal. Underneath all those buildings, this hilltop tells a much deeper story. A story written in buried stone and secrets that stayed sealed through centuries of war. The Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, and the Ottomans all reshaped the walls above. Everyone who conquered this place was obsessed with one idea. This is where heaven and earth touch. And get this, the mount stayed mostly unexplored because of religious and political tension. Dr. Eilat Mazar, one of Israel's most respected archaeologists, spent decades studying the platform's edges. Before her death in 2021, she told colleagues that every probe suggested something massive was waiting below, something that predated everything we thought we knew. But no one was allowed to dig, not officially, not until someone broke the rules. The forbidden dig. Digging under most ancient sites is straightforward. You get permits, gather tools, and start working. But the Temple Mount is different. Under this plateau lies the heart of 3 world religions. Even a single shovel could spark an international crisis.
These are the Holy Lands, home to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Western Wall, and finally Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Since the 1800s, explorers have dreamed of seeing what was hidden beneath. A British engineer named Charles Warren was the first to enter the buried levels in the 1860s. He crawled through shafts and ancient tunnels. He found rooms, carved into rock and strange water channels leading nowhere. But as soon as he published his findings, the doors were closed. Think about that for a second. For over 150 years, the most important archaeological site on the planet has been completely off limits. Dr. Gabriel Barkay from Bar-Ilan University put it bluntly. Digging here is not about the past. It is about peace and war. Here's the catch. In the late 1990s, someone decided the rules didn't apply to them. Without authorization, construction crews began excavating on the mount. They removed hundreds of truckloads of dirt and dumped them in the Kidron Valley like garbage. Thousands of years of history thrown away, and almost no one noticed. That scandal created an unexpected opportunity. Objects from a holy age. Most people would have let that dirt disappear, but Dr. Gabriel Barkay and Dr. Zaki Dvira saw something others missed. In 2004, they launched the Temple Mount Sifting Project. Volunteers worked by hand, filtering through tons of discarded earth. What they pulled out was stunning. Pottery from the 8th century BCE, oil lamps, ceremonial bowl fragments. Then Dr. Dvira's team hit something that made them freeze. A tiny clay seal bearing an ancient name, Galiyahu, son of Amir. Now, this is where it gets disturbing. In biblical texts, Amir was a priestly family who served in Solomon's temple. This seal proved a real person from those ancient stories actually existed. more seals appeared with names matching biblical records perfectly. Dr. Barquet reportedly sat in silence for 10 minutes after examining the first batch. When he finally spoke, he said, "We're not finding artifacts, we're finding people." The crazy part is what happened next. As researchers mapped where the objects originated, they noticed a pattern. The items didn't scatter randomly. They came from a specific location that had been deliberately hidden. The pattern pointed toward rooms sealed for over a millennium. Rooms someone had gone to extraordinary lengths to bury. If you want to see what they found behind those sealed walls, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, because this story is far from over. The radar discovery. The silence beneath the Temple Mount is not empty space. It's the heavy silence of a vault unopened for 3,000 years. For centuries, legend spoke of vast chambers and staircases descending into the earth. Scholars dismissed these as folklore. Then came February 2023. Dr. Yuval Baruch from the Israel Antiquities Authority deployed the most advanced scanning technology ever used in the region: ground-penetrating radar, muon tomography, the same tools that revealed hidden voids inside the Great Pyramid. They focused on the southern slope, where bedrock drops sharply toward the city of David. And here's the deal. What came back on those screens shattered every assumption. The scans revealed geometric structures carved into solid rock where there should have been nothing but limestone, hallways, chambers, vaulted ceilings.
This isn't just a Bible story. We have archaeological evidence that the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem.
When Dr. Oded Lipschitz from Tel Aviv University overlaid the 2023 data onto Charles Warren's 1860s maps, the room went silent. The outlines matched perfectly. The hallways Warren glimpsed, the staircases he theorized about, all appearing on screens in vivid detail. Dr. Lipschitz later said, "Warren wasn't guessing. He was documenting something real. We've been ignoring it for 150 years." The team moved to a legal excavation zone near the southwestern corner. Beneath Ottoman and Crusader-era fill, they hit something solid, a staircase carved into bedrock, descending into darkness. The hidden chamber. When Dr. Baruch's team stepped into that chamber, they entered a room that hadn't seen light in over 1,000 years. The air was still and dry. Byzantine crosses covered the walls, suggesting 4th century Christian worship. But the Byzantine layer was just a skin. Dr. Ronnie Reich noticed the floor felt wrong. When they investigated deeper, they made the discovery of a lifetime. Beneath the plaster lay massive stones weighing several tons, cut with precision, marking the highest level of royal Judean architecture. Let that sink in. These stones dated to the First Temple period, and the alignment wasn't arbitrary. It synchronized perfectly with sacred zones described in biblical texts, a geometric blueprint governing the entire mount. Here's where it gets disturbing. Dr. Reich pointed out these foundational stones resemble megalithic structures at Baalbek and Giza. Stones modern engineers still can't fully explain. Some researchers are terrified Solomon's temple wasn't the first structure here, that the Israelites reclaimed something older, a power site engineered for purposes we don't understand by builders who came before. But the most unsettling discovery waited at the chamber's far end: a second staircase, half collapsed, deliberately sealed with heavy stones packed in ancient mortar. This wasn't damage. This wasn't erosion. Someone choked that passage shut intentionally. Someone who never wanted it opened. The sealed door. Dr. Barquet has spent 50 years excavating Israeli sites. When he saw that blocked staircase, he said something that stuck with the entire team. "You don't seal a door to hide a room. You seal a door to make sure whatever's inside never gets out." Think about that for a second. Preliminary scans show the staircase leads to a chamber lined with copper sheets and lead traces. Materials wildly out of place for a storeroom or tomb. Materials that only make sense for containment. Some theorists are terrified the Ark of the Covenant wasn't lost to Babylonians or destroyed by fire. They believe it was moved into a pre-prepared vault during the final siege, hidden deliberately, sealed permanently. If the Ark was some kind of technological device, a capacitor or radiation source, then these sealed rooms weren't sanctuaries. They were containment chambers. The priests in gold-threaded garments weren't performing rituals. They were servicing something demanding absolute isolation. The staircase was blocked because the insulation had to be permanent. That's not architecture. That's quarantine. The Holy Well. While Hidden Halls spoke of architecture, the next discovery spoke of something more complex. Dr. De Vera's team mapped a vast network of tunnels and cisterns beneath the mount. These weren't simple wells. These were precision-engineered channels lined with waterproof plaster intact for 3,000 years. Pressure control systems, overflow valves, reservoirs holding millions of gallons. But here's the deal. One basin sat directly beneath the altar of sacrifice. Ash and organic markers suggest it washed away offerings. But the system's complexity screams something bigger. Dr. Reich proposed an uncomfortable theory. High-pressure water through limestone channels would create low-frequency vibrations. Sonic engineering. The temple wasn't just a building. It was a massive instrument producing specific frequencies. It's not that simple, though. Other researchers point to quartz content in Judean limestone, water channels grounded into bedrock, cistern alignments matching overhead constellations. Some are terrified this wasn't just worship. It was a machine, and all of it connects to that sealed staircase, that blocked door, that chamber lined with copper and lead. Whatever the ancient priests were doing down there, the water system was part of it. What comes next? As we move into 2026, data from these discoveries is still being processed. We're not guessing from broken pottery anymore. Muon tomography and LiDAR mapping reveal the city beneath the city. The hidden halls are real. The sealed door is real. Dr. Baruch's team is preparing for the final look. Ultra-thin fiber optic cameras and micro drones will thread through microscopic gaps in that blocked staircase. The goal is seeing what's inside without moving a single stone. There's fear that breaking the seal might trigger collapse. Or something worse. Researchers sit in silence at night, staring at monitors, waiting for light to hit the interior of that hidden vault. Whatever our ancestors sealed behind those copper-lined walls, they went to extraordinary lengths keeping it there. For 3,000 years, that door has held. But here's the real question. It's not just about what's behind that door. It's about who has known all along, and why they've kept it sealed for 3,000 years. What exactly are they hiding, and what happens when that seal finally breaks? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want to be here when they finally break through, smash that subscribe button. Because when that door opens, everything changes.